Hey guys, Neon Nezzy back again with another Destiny 6 video. So first of all guys, I just want to say thank you again to everybody out there that's been watching my videos. Today I think we make 14 days of this channel. It's not even 14 yet. We're still on day 13. And we already have over 200 subscribers, which is just insane. So thank you everybody for the support. Much love to everybody. Second of all, just on current events, Childish Plays did a video yesterday talking about Paper John, and he actually mentioned me in the video. He actually gave us a shout out in the video, which was super cool because he's one of the bigger names in gaming, right? Especially in mobile gaming. And so I was so excited. I was just so happy. I was like, oh my god, he gave me a shout out. Childish gave me a shout out. I didn't realize that he called us neo-Nazi gaming. But then once he said our name, he had this edit. And I was like, why is that particular edit in there? So I had to watch it like 5 times. And around like the 5th or 6th time, I realized what he said, how he said it. I was so hyped up. I didn't even realize that he was calling us the wrong thing. But yeah, so that happened. I'll link the video down in the description below if you guys want to check it out. Anything else? Oh yeah, I know that a lot of people do the hashtag Neo thing, and please ask me questions wherever you guys are stuck in the game. Even if I can't get back to you, or even if I don't know what the answer is, there's always someone out there, like some good Samaritan out there, that's going to help you out. The only thing I would encourage you guys to do from now on is put the questions at hashtag Nezzy. I said hashtag Neo because a lot of people just by default started calling me Neo, but then I've always been more comfortable with the name Nezzy, and it's also a lot more unique than Neo or Neon. So alright, so without further ado, today is going to be the 4-star guide on MEDINA, and for logistic reasons we're going to be going really fast, okay guys? So bear with me, but I will try to be as clear as possible. 2 things I want to get out of the way though before we get started. First of all, not all of these monsters are going to be usable, and second of all, even if they are, you're not going to always want to build them because you could potentially have better 5-star counterparts. Also, when I tell you guys to skill them up, remember I mean skill ups by using other species, other heroes from the same species. Never ever use skilled dragoons for 4-star skill ups, okay? 4-star dragoons are going to be exclusively for your 5-star heroes. So first off, let's start with Chrono. From the name we can guess it's something to do with a clock, and right at the butt we can see it's cooldown acceleration, decreases damage taken, so makes your team tanky, accelerates cooldown by 150%, goes up to 180%, that's a budget Carlota basically. Second skill will increase opponent's cooldown and pause it. So this has happened to me a few times in Arena. Like, I've been on the receiving end of this and it does not feel good when this lands. The striker skill actually has a 75% chance to land it, so it's really strong in Arena. But let's just come back here. So basically it will pause them for 4 seconds. So their cooldown is just going to pause. If it's at 19 seconds right now, it will stay at 19 seconds for the next 4 seconds. And then, alright, fine. So let's say you had 20 seconds on your cooldown, okay? It will now go up to 24 seconds, and for the next 4 seconds it will stay at 24 seconds. I hope I made it clear there what happens. So really good. He's like a time master, time manipulator. Leader skill will decrease cooldown of all allies by 7%, which is really good. This is a global leader skill, which is really good. He's not racist. He doesn't care about your color, where you come from. He will reduce your cooldown, period. Quiet Tomb, 7,000 strike points for a 4-star unit. I would say not to use it in the striker position, but it is very strong because it's basically a 16-second inability on the opponents to use their skills. and that's on all their skills. And it's a 75% chance to land it if you guys have a status activation rate buff. From now on, we're just going to call that activation buff, okay? Activation buff means status activation rate buff. If you guys have an activation buff, that's going to go over 100%, so it should always be landing. So pretty damn strong. Did it say attack? Yeah, so give him bravery. Give him bravery. Chrono. So this one is a little different. He will actually remove a debuff by 40%, and the interesting thing here is that he has a reflective status shield. So it's not reflecting damage, it's not making you immune to damage. You'll still be taking all the damage, but you're going to be immune to debuffs, and this is like an intelligent shield. Whatever debuffs you're supposed to be getting is going to bounce back onto the opponent, which is really, really cool. It's very, for a 4-star unit to have this, I say that's pretty cool. And that goes up to 10 whole seconds, so definitely skill that up if you guys are wanting to use this Chrono. Second skill is a copy paste from the first Chrono's first skill. So yeah, we already know what that does. Budget Carlota, right? Decreases cooldown of paper heroes, you racist bastard. Speed Tomb. Cooldown acceleration. Accelerates the skill cooldown of all allies by 250% for 10 seconds. Decreases damage taken by all allies by 40% for 10 seconds. This one I would not run in the striker position, because here's the reason why. By the time your 7,000 strike points occur, you're probably very much late into the game. And for you to have to use this, you want all your skills to be on cooldown. And yes, but here's the thing, okay? The match has already gone on for quite some time. The fact that you got to use a 7,000 strike point means that the tank means that it has been going on. Also, whenever you guys use 7,000 strike point strikers, make sure you have a tanky team, because if you don't, you're never going to be able to use it. So first of all, it's already, so much time has passed. You're low on time now. And it's not like a refresh. It's not like reducing certain time off of your skills. It's just increasing their cooldown time. So that means skills may come off cooldown. They may not come off cooldown. Like, what if you have just 5 seconds left on the clock? The other Chrono, however, when he comes in, he will put their stuff on hold. He will put their skills on hold, which is why I would prefer him on the striker position and this one in the first 3 positions. This one, he doesn't really do attack, so rune him with, I would say either rune him with Iron Guard, but then his attack is higher than his defense. So rune him with, what is it? Vitality. Rune him with Vitality just to make your team tankier. Eve. I know one Eve is better on the striker position and one is better in the first 3 positions. So let's call them from now on, let's call it your core, which is the 3 positions, and striker being the striker position. Okay, guys? Let's get into this. So, immediate HP recovery of 5% of whole team, but 520 and 890 based on your defense. Okay, so you can go either or. Vitality or defense, but I think since it's 5% as compared to the potential 890, which can then go up to 1150, you will want to rune her on Iron Guard, and has a 40% chance to remove 2 debuffs off the allies and the amp skill. So not bad. Revenge. Decreases damage taken, special attack, lifesteal. Converts Cash's normal attack into special attacks. Special attacks will ignore defense by 50% if I remember correctly. But why base it on attack? She could have based on HP or defense or something. Decreases damage taken by all allies by 20% for 12 seconds. Damage equal to 120% of defense with special attacks. Lifesteal equal to 100% of damage dealt. Okay. Iron Guard for sure. You're healing more with your first skill, and with your second skill, you are going to be dealing damage that ignores their defense based on your defense, which gives you 100% lifesteal. OP, I think this is the one you would want to run in your first core 3. Let's call it core 3, okay? In your core 3. And I'm pretty sure the other one is for your striker. Leader skill, decrease the damage taken by all allies by 15%. Pretty good. Savior. Immediate HP recovery of 5%. 1000% of caster's defense. 60% chance to remove 2 debuffs from allies. She can be used in the striker position, but if I were you, I would run it with Iron Guard, place her in the core 3. I'm losing my voice. Every time we do videos like this, I lose my voice. Divine Guard. Recovers HP and gives an invulnerability shield. Is this a budget Adonis? It is. It's an amp skill. At 2 amps, you'll actually get 6 seconds of invincibility, which is just as good as an unskilled Adonis. So again, budget Adonis. 4-star monsters aren't going to give you more utility than 5-star monsters. They're just going to be like, until you get Adonis, here's your Paper Eve. HP recovery. So again, she will heal for the 500 and the 700 based on her defense. So definitely rune with Iron Guard. Second skill, HP recovery, 5% of team. And again, so it's like... Okay, but note the heal. It's only 290%. The other Eve went up to like... She went up to like 1150 or something with the heal, right? This is only 290% of caster's defense. Oh, but it's 4 times. Never mind. You will heal yourself 4 times. That's like 290 times 1000. People, do the math. Which is pretty good, by the way. 40% chance to remove 2 debuffs from allies. So, okay, so she's a cleanser and will deal damage. Not bad. Rune with Iron Guard. Leader skill creates a shield that comes in that protects allies from damage. Falls when HP falls over 20%. Okay, she is definitely the one you want in the striker position, because here's the thing. Your core 3 leader, it's always going to be changing around based on what you want. But your striker leader can always be one core unit that just gives a lot of utility. This one, just being a leader, will give you this amazing shield that when your HP falls below 20%, you get a shield. I don't know how strong the shield is, but I feel like I've gone up her against in arena before, and it was definitely OP. Okay, so yes, her strike is 7,000 strike points, but it's an Adonis invincibility, and it's HP. Okay, run her in arena with a tanky team. When your HP falls below 20%, you're gonna get a shield. And if you're running a tanky team and your HP fell below 20%, chances are your striker skill is ready. So use the striker skill right after your shield from her leader skill goes off, and you basically have like, I don't know, it's just going to be tons and tons of shield. Iron Guard as well for this Eve. Gilbert, okay. We saw him yesterday with, or the video I just did, where he was fighting off Julian, and then Benito comes in. Benito's coming out soon, by the way, guys, so if you guys want, you guys should save up your Medina faction scrolls if you guys want it, Benito. So, Judgment. AoE damage equal to 470 of defense. I've seen better. Breakpoints goes up to 2 breakpoints. 50% chance to knock down a target for 4 seconds, but it's only 50% chance. Oh, also, if they are disabled, you'll ignore 70% of their defense, 100% chance to remove the target. So, quite a bit of utility. Ignore defense if they're already stunned or knocked down or whatever. And then you have a chance to remove their shield as well. And a break skill. Potentially pretty good for PvE. Power Crash. Single target damage equal to 260, 420, 550 of defense. If target is disabled, ignore 50% of defense. That will go up to 70% and more damage with the defense. 45% chance to launch for 3 seconds. Okay, so if you guys don't have a very... let me think. Rune this guy with Iron Guard as your secondary damage dealer for PvE situations. He has breakpoints, 3 breakpoints in total, which can be useful. Actually 4, because this right here is an amp skill. So the first one on max will have 2 breaks, this one 1 and 1, so 2 plus 1 plus 1, do the math guys, it is 4. But you would want to run him with another stunner or someone that locks the enemy down, and with status bar increase. So not sure if you guys want to have your core 3 just based on stuns and status increase, but hey, whatever rocks your world, guys. Basically, the idea would be to use the activation rate buff, stun it with someone else. Once the stun is starting to wear out, use this guy to stun them again and ignore their defense. And once that stun is coming off, use his other skill, stun them again, ignore their defense. And when that skill is coming off, since you have a double stack on your second skill, use it again to ignore defense and stun them again. But then again, the stun isn't going to be 100%, so just be careful when you use him. But Iron Guard for sure. Leader skill, increase the defense of Medina faction by 7%. Okay, not bad. Judgment 6,000. AoE damage of 850 if the target disabled. Ignore 80% of target defense. 60% chance to knock down for 4 seconds. 100% chance to remove the target shield. Don't use him in Striker. Not worth it. It's just 6,000 for not a lot. Not a lot. Okay, so this Gilbert is a paper Gilbert. Pretty sure we were seeing the rock Gilbert in the video. So anyway, a lot of utility here, but let's see what the chances are of actually having that utility come into play. AoE damage of 680 defense, that goes up to nothing. It stays at 650, or 680, no, what am I saying, 680, 380, it stays at 680 even at max skills. If target is disabled, ignore 50% of defense, so same as the first guy. Increases defense by 30% for 10 seconds, so makes your team tankier. Goes to 15 for 15 seconds, it'll be for 50% of defense increase, which is just as good as Yona, I think. Yona does actually 55% buff, or maybe even more, and mine's only level 1, so not as good as Yona. I take it back. And 25% chance to decrease the target's damage by 30% for 15 seconds, so if you guys want to land that, you guys need an activation buff. AoE damage of defense again, so ruin him with Iron Guard again. Both of these guys would be great as your secondary damage dealer, preferably not as your first damage dealer. Your primary damage dealer or your first damage dealer would typically be a Nat 5, because Nat 5s have really good scaling. And again, guys, rates in this game are pretty good, so you guys are bound to have a few Nat 5s lying around. AoE damage equal to 470% of defense. If target is disabled, ignore the defense again. Okay, but this one isn't a stacking skill like the other one. It's basically the other Gilbert's first skill, so not as great when it comes to crowd control. I might not even build this guy. Defense of paper heroes by 7%. Strike kill is 5,000. I would say don't use him. I don't think I would use this striker skill in arena. Defense scaling, but it's not a lot. It's only 650. If target is disabled, 50%, which is only if they are disabled. So what are the chances that when your striker skill comes on? Because generally, guys, when your striker skill comes on, you're already through the game for a bit, right? So you could be on the verge of death, or you could have just used your skills. You're not really paying attention to your striker bar. You're kind of just paying attention to your cooldowns, buffs onto the opponent, and debuffs onto your team. So you already have 3 points there that you have to focus on. I just don't like him. It's just 4-star units, guys, so you guys won't be using all of them. Scar. Okay. This Scar I actually know a decent amount about. He has a double stack, guys, on his first attack for Fang attack, and it causes bleed. So if you don't have a bleeder for dungeons and for tanky bosses, definitely use this guy. You can potentially apply 2 bleed stacks, which is a 20% chance of landing it, which goes up to 25% chance for 10.5 seconds. My Natalia applies it, sure, at max level, she will apply it for 12 seconds instead of 10.5 seconds. But even at max, I don't think her bleed chances go up to even like 15%. I know it starts off at 12%, and this guy starts off at 20%, so that's pretty good. However, when my Natalia does her thing, she will land both stacks of bleed at once. This guy will only land 1 stack of bleed each time, so you need both stacks off cooldown to have a double bleed effect onto the boss. But he can definitely be your budget bleeder for dungeons. Sneak attack, AoE damage of 5,000 of 520% of attack power, so bravery or Crit rate doesn't really do much, but if you guys want to max on crit rate and you can get his crit rate up to 30% or more, with a crit rate buff, it would go up to 50% or more. So yeah, you guys could rune him on concentration. If the more debuffs they have, the more damage you do, which is pretty good for giants and dungeons, because generally in those cases you are applying debuffs onto the boss. And his break skill goes up to 2 break skills, not the best, but hey, better than nothing. Increases attack of MEDINA faction heroes by 7%. Sneak attack, AoE damage of 920, which is quite a bit, goes up to almost 1300% of attack. But I think he has more utility on his first skill, so run him in the core 3. Don't run him as a striker. Concentration or bravery. And you definitely want some skill ups to make it more make the bleed more viable. Whoops. Okay, we're back. I was so afraid. Oh my god, if the never mind. I thought we lost connection. Holy cow. All right. Scissor Scar. Copy paste off the first Scar's second skill over here. So break one goes with 2, right? Yep. Wisdom Tooth, AoE damage equal to 400% of attack. If target has 2 debuffs, it can go up to 960 in total. This one applies burn and will remove 2 debuffs. Okay, so if you guys need someone to deal damage but potentially cleanse as well, he isn't a bad choice. There are better choices, but if he's the best you have, he won't be bad. Run him with, again, concentration or bravery. Increases attack of ally by 7%, so all allies. Wisdom Tooth, AoE damage of 680 for attack power. If target has 1-2 debuffs, it can almost do 1100% of attack power. 33% chance to burn, 50% chance to remove 1 debuff from all allies. This one would remove 1 debuff. This one can remove 2 debuffs, and Striker will only remove 1 debuff. For Striker skill, I think there are better options available for Striker. So if this guy has everything that you need, Bravery, Concentration in Core 3. Hold on guys, I need water. My voice is starting to crack. Okay, Con. AoE damage of 36% of HP. Break skill goes up to 2. If team current HP is 50% or less, damage equal to 61% of caster max HP. So I don't know how much the multiplier is, but it seems pretty good, because at max it'll go up to 61%, and also the less HP you have, the more damage you will deal with this skill. Skills like these are useful to turn the tide of the battle around. Like, you're low, but then you're kind of laughing in the opponent's face, that haha, this is exactly what I wanted. I want myself to be low, because guess what, buddy? When I'm low, my damage output increases substantially. Also has a 45% chance to launch for 3 seconds. Break skill of 2, not bad. Single target damage equal of 750. We're skipping this guy. We are skipping this guy. Don't build him. This one, I'm sorry. Whoops. Hold on. This one right here, okay? Skills of HP. Second skill, skills of attack. What is this? It's like he was born and he couldn't decide. It's like he had a bipolar episode when he was very, very young, and then he was like, HP, attack, I want both. But in the end, he just ended up becoming trash. Rock Khan, let's see if you are any better. So what he will do is, again, AoE damage based on your max HP. At max stats, that will go up to 60%. It starts off with, if you have 30% or less HP, which is really risky, by the way, you will deal 50% of your max HP's damage. But then, when you max skill it up, it's a bit safer, because 50% of your HP bar is a substantial amount, and you will deal more damage. The chance to reduce their status activation chance. So it will reduce the opponent's accuracy, but it's only a 16% chance even at max skill. So even with a activation buff, that will only be, how much will that be? It will cross 50%, potentially cross 50%. If you guys have leader skills, might cross 60%, but for all that to happen, that's just way too much setup. AoE damage again, based on HP. The less HP you have, the more damage you will deal. 35% chance to launch them. That goes into 45% chance to launch them. So this is the guy. Wait, oh fine. Before I say this, let me just look at. Oh fine. First of all, ruin this con on Vitality if you want to use him. Disable duration of rock hits by 15%. Rampage. AoE damage equal to 54% of max HP. If your HP is 50% or less, damage equal to 75% of caster's max HP. 25% chance to decrease test activation rate by 50% for 12 seconds. Okay. I would say don't use him in arena because he doesn't have a lot of utility or like record-breaking damage. I would say if you have a team that is based on just nuking, like a very heavy nuking team, and you have some sustain in the core 3 with lifesteal, then potentially you would want to use this guy in the striker position. First of all, for the strike, because you're running a squishy team, so that by the time you get to the boss, you're probably gonna have less HP. You're gonna have low HP, so use this skill to deal even more damage onto the boss. And also, because your core 3 is so squishy, you can ruin this guy on Vitality and make your whole team a bit tankier. I know this sounds like very, very situational, guys, but he only has a 59% chance rating. Don't always go off of that, but reading his skill set and thinking about where I would use him, that's the only place I would use him, so I can definitely understand the 59% rating. Next up is Griffin. Decreases cooldown of all adds by 4 seconds, excluding the caster. So not like Chrono or Carlota, they will accelerate your cooldown. This guy will just give you, boom, 4 seconds off of everything but myself. So this is like, he's very community-centered, guys. He's all about the community. He's all about charity. He will raise charity. He will raise charity for your victory. Increases crit rate by 22% for 15 seconds, and cooldown of all adds by 8 seconds. So that's what happens at max skill. Pretty good. Pretty good. Looking at this, I say he's a decent 4-star, but let's look at his skill too. Damage in line equal to 400% of attack, causes bleeding for 6 seconds upon critical hit, removes buff from target times 2. It will go up to 9 seconds. Okay, again, very situational place to use this guy that I can think of. Potentially in dungeons where you want to land the bleed. So ruin him with concentration, because you're only going to be landing the bleed if you get a critical hit. And then no matter where you go, cooldown is always OP, right? So cooldown for anywhere you want, but because his second removes buffs, which a lot of the bosses have, and he will cause bleed, which is super, super great for giants or dungeons. That's potentially where I'd use him. Concentration orbs, but you can't just bring this guy for your bleed. You will need someone else to get you over the 50% mark, because even then it's not guaranteed. It's not the best bleeder. If you guys want a bleeder, definitely take Scar, but he just has a bit more utility with cooldowns. Falcon Wing 7000, don't use him in Striker, guys. It's pretty good, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough. By the time this guy comes in Arena especially, the game has gone on for so long, you're probably on the verge of death, or they're probably on the verge of death. You want something to shield you, heal you, or deal massive damage onto the opponent. But this will, but when this activates, it's not going to accelerate cooldown. You're going to get, boom, 12 seconds off of all your cooldown. If you guys have a team that is tanky, I would almost just use him. Yeah, use him. But then if you're only using him in the striker position, ruin him with Iron Guard or I was going to say Sylvis. Ruin him with Iron Guard or Vitality to make your team tankier, because whether you guys have crit rate or all the attack in the world, it's not going to matter in the striker position, because this does no damage. It's just a buff. Second Griffin. Basically the first Griffin's second ability copy-paste. Second skill, AoE damage equal to 4,000% of attack, 20% chance to decrease the target's crit rate by 30% for 12 seconds, decreases the caster's cooldown by 3 seconds upon a critical hit. No. Very, very self-centered. Be like your brother. This guy will only reduce cooldown for himself. It is stacking, but nah. Okay, Isabelle. Flame Explosion. So she's like a mage, okay. AoE damage of 480% of attack power if target has 1 or 2 debuffs, damage equal to 600 or 768 of attack power, 10% chance to burn the target for 7.5 seconds. Okay. Not bad, but that's only 10% chance to burn. I'm not sure if burns actually... Do burns actually work in... would burns work in dungeons? I never see burn being used, or poison. I always only see bleed. So, right now she's pretty underwhelming for me. Damage in line, 320 of attack power goes up to 420. If they have more debuffs, you'll deal more damage, and 40% chance to burn them. It's also a stacking skill, so she can potentially apply burn after burn after burn 3 times. If you guys need something to burn, burn baby burn. Here's your Isabelle. Decreases debuff for scissor heroes by 15%. Damage in line equal to 400% of attack power. If a target has 1 or 2 more debuffs, damage equal to potentially 640% of attack power, 54% chance to burn them for 12 seconds. If you guys don't have anybody better for arena for your striker, use her because she only has a 4,000 strike point, and burn does work pretty well. Like dots in arena do work pretty well also. By the time you guys activate your 4,000 strike points, the match probably hasn't gone on for that long, so you should be relatively healthy, so you don't really need a healer. So damage would be pretty good. I don't know, but personally I would not build her, and if I did, I would probably build her on bravery. Electro ball. Okay, so the first Isabelle was like a fire mage, and she is like a lightning mage. So random target. Someone please tell me why it matters if it's random or not, because someone commented this on my last video, and it totally makes sense. Your whole team your whole team takes damage just based on your leader, right? And also when you look in arena, it doesn't tell you stats of just one unit. It tells you stats of all 4 units combined, right? So then here's my question. If I have a Kerr, a Paper Francisca, and a Julian, and this random target happens to be Julian, will I be taking more damage than if this random target was Paper Francisca or Kerr? That's my question. If you guys know, let me know. 20% chance to shock for 7.5 seconds goes with 30% chance to shock for 12 whole seconds. Stacking skill, so can be used twice. And also, once you stun just one person or knock down one person or shock one person, it will be applied to the whole team, right? So pretty good. You can shock them twice in a row. And it's 30% with activation buff. That's 70% with leader skills and everything else. You can potentially get it over 80%. Damage in line of 400% of attack power. If a target has 1 or 2 debuffs, you deal more damage. Okay. And 20% chance to shock goes up to, again, 30% and 12 seconds. Personally, I would not build her. If I did build her, however, I would probably build her on bravery, and specifically for crowd control reasons, just because I can shock the opponent for 4 times in a row. And shocking means to interrupt them, right? Yeah, interrupt. Their actions are interrupted. So if they're like about to buff or they're about to attack, you use a shock, it comes off immediately, it interrupts them, and I think they never discharge their skill, or they never activate their skill or whatever. I would use her for fun. In arena, but nowhere else. Increase attack of rock hero by 7%. Okay, like I said, Bruno and bravery. So this is again chance to shock. More debuffs they have, the more damage you will deal. 5,000% strike point, or 5,000 points strike. I would not use in the striker position. Kind of underwhelming. Only use her in the core 3. Again, if you have someone to buff activation, and if you want to have some fun with crowd controls, because she would just be shock, 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 shock 4 times. Shock, 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 shock. Yeah, I did say it 4 times. Okay. Okay. Drake. Piercer. So ignores defense, buff, remove, damage in line. Wait. This guy's a 3-star. Yep. Alright guys, we're done. Okay, so I think we have a little bit of time left, so let me just say this. Units to use from this faction. I didn't do this in the last one, I apologize, because we ran out of storage, but here I'm trying to do it as fast as possible, okay? Both Chronos are pretty good. One Chrono is a time manipulator, the other Chrono is a cooldown on your side with the cleansing and with the smart shield, right? You will bounce off the debuffs onto you. Paper Eve using your core 3. Scissor Eve using your striker, rune them both with Iron Guard. Gilbert, not really. I could potentially see the use for one of the scars. I can see using the scar for bleed, but not really. I could see using the Scissor Isabelle for burning, 3 burn chances, and like I just said, Rock Isabelle for quadruple shocks. But yeah, I think those are the units that are really good from this faction right here. If you guys have any questions, link it down in the comment section below remember, it's new now, #Nezzy, NEZZY. And yeah, if you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys like the channel and you haven't subscribed already, subscribe it. If your friends play Destiny 6, let them know about the channel. Hopefully they find something in my videos useful. And until next time guys, Neon out.